It's 2 in the morning. You're alone. The house is dark and everyone else is asleep. You hear it. One small sound. A floorboard settling. A branch against the window. A soft click from a room you can't see. And before you decide anything, before a single conscious thought forms, your whole body has already changed. Your breath goes shallow. Your heartbeat climbs into your ears. Your eyes snap toward the darkest corner of the room, scanning, hunting for a shape that probably isn't there. You feel a little foolish about it in the morning. It was the refrigerator. It was the wind. But that reaction is not weakness, and it is not anxiety. It is a piece of survival software roughly 2 million years old, still running inside a skull that also knows how to file taxes and stream movies. That reflex to scan the shadows was written by predators. Not by your predators, by theirs. By the animals that hunted the small, slow, soft-bodied creatures you descended from. And here is the part almost nobody tells you. Those predators are gone. The cave lions, the giant hyenas, the eagles that could carry off a child. Every one of them, extinct or driven to the edges of the earth. And yet the alarm system they installed is still fully armed inside you tonight. The question this video answers is why. Why did being hunted for millions of years permanently rewire the brain you're using right now? Here is exactly what I'm going to show you. First, the reason your brain would rather scare you 100 times for nothing than stay calm once and let you die. Second, the two-part detection system running in the back of your mind that turns a coat on a chair into an intruder in a fraction of a second. Third, why you cannot stop seeing faces and intentions in random things, and how that same glitch built both religion and paranoia. Fourth, why a controlled fire changed the human brain more than almost any tool we ever made. And fifth, the single reason you still sleep badly in an unfamiliar room, even a luxury hotel, even when you are perfectly safe. Stay with me, because the fifth one is happening to you far more often than you realize. Let me start with the strangest rule your brain follows, because everything else grows out of it. Imagine an early human, one of your distant ancestors, standing at the edge of tall grass. The grass moves. Now that movement is almost always the wind. 999 times out of 1,000, it is nothing. But one time in 1,000, it is a leopard. So the brain faces a choice between two kinds of mistakes. Mistake one, you assume it's a predator. You run, and you were wrong. You wasted some energy and felt a little silly. Mistake two, you assume it's the wind. You relax, and you were wrong. Now you are dead. Those two mistakes are not equal, not even close. Evolution does not care if you are calm. It does not care if you are correct. It cares only that some of your children survive. And a brain that makes the first mistake 1,000 times will still outbreed a brain that makes the second mistake even once. Because the second mistake ends the bloodline. Scientists call this the smoke detector principle. Your threat system is tuned like a smoke alarm, deliberately oversensitive, screaming at burnt toast, because the cost of a false alarm is annoyance. And the cost of a missed alarm is a house burned down. This is why you jump at a garden hose that looks like a snake. This is why your stomach drops at a shadow. Your brain is not malfunctioning in those moments. It is doing exactly what 2 million years of being eaten trained it to do. It is choosing, every single time, to be embarrassed rather than dead. And you inherited the settings from every ancestor who chose the same way, because the ones who stayed relaxed at the edge of the grass did not become anyone's ancestors. Now let's open up that alarm system and look at the two machines inside it, because this is where it gets specific. The first machine is motion detection, and it runs underneath your conscious sight. There is a fast pathway in your brain that carries visual information straight to a small, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala, which handles fear and threat. This pathway skips your thinking brain entirely. It is quick and it is crude. It doesn't see detail. It sees movement and it sees shape, and it flinches before the slow, careful, high-resolution part of your vision has even finished loading the picture. That is why you can leap back from a snake-shaped stick before you consciously know what it is. Your body reacted on the cheap, fast pathway. A tenth of a second later, the slow pathway catches up and says, "Relax, it's a stick," but the flinch already happened. The system is built that way on purpose. When you are prey, the tenth of a second you save by reacting before you understand is the exact tenth of a second between escaping and being caught. The second machine is stranger, and it is the one that explains the 2 in the morning feeling. Psychologists call it agency detection. Your brain does not just watch for movement, it watches for intention. It is constantly asking a background question about everything around you. Is that thing alive, and does it want something from me? And just like the smoke detector, this question is tuned to over-answer yes. So when the grass rustles, your brain doesn't just register motion. It assumes a mind behind the motion. Something intended that. Something is out there, and it wants you. In a world full of ambush predators, that assumption saved lives. The human who assumed a hunter behind every rustle occasionally wasted a sprint. The human who assumed the wind occasionally got eaten. So we are all descended from the paranoid ones, every last one of us. And this is where that ancient machine leaks into your modern life in ways you'd never connect. That agency detector, the part of you that assumes a mind behind random events, does not switch off just because there are no leopards in your bedroom. It runs all day. It is why you see a face in a wall socket, in the front of a car, in the shadows of a dark room. It is why the burglar that was actually a coat felt so completely real for that half second. Your brain took ambiguous information and did what it was built to do. It guessed intention. It guessed a mind. Researchers who study this argue it's one of the deepest roots of how humans explain the world. When our ancestors could not see the cause of something, thunder, disease, a good harvest, a sudden death, the agency detector filled the gap the only way it knew how. It assumed a someone, a spirit behind the storm, an intention behind the luck. The same wiring that made you scan the corner of your bedroom also made humanity, across every culture on Earth, reach for invisible minds behind the events they couldn't explain. That is not an insult to anyone's beliefs. It's a clue about the hardware all of us are running. And it has a darker edge too. When that detector gets stuck in the on position, when it fires too hard, you get the feeling of being watched when no one is there. You get the certainty that a group is talking about you. The machine that kept your ancestors alive by finding hidden minds is the same machine that, turned up too high, manufactures threats that were never there at all. One dial, 2 completely different outcomes. Survival at one setting, suffering at the next. So we have a brain that assumes predators, reacts before it understands, and sees minds in the dark. For most of our history, the night was when all of that ran hottest. And that brings us to the single invention that pushed back: fire. A controlled fire changed the deep-time human more than the spear did. Think about what darkness meant to a small primate on the ground. Most of the big cats that hunted our ancestors saw beautifully at night. We did not. Sundown was the moment the balance of power tipped fully toward the things with claws. For millions of years, night was simply the hours you might not survive. A campfire rewrote that. Light pushed the dark back to a ring you could watch. Big predators, like almost every animal, feared open flame, so the fire became a wall you could see through. But the fire did something deeper than protect the body. It bought time. Time after dark that was no longer pure terror. Around that light, humans could stay awake, together, and do something no prey animal had ever really done. They could relax in the dark. They could talk. They could plan tomorrow, tell stories, pass on what they knew. And notice the ritual that survived into you. The pull you feel toward a fire pit, a candle, a screen glowing in a dark room, the strange comfort of a single light while everything around it is black. That is not a preference you invented. It is the memory of the one place your ancestors were safe after sundown, wired into you as pleasure so you would seek it out. But the fire also came with a rule. Someone had to feed it. Someone had to stay half awake and watch the dark beyond it. Which leads to the last piece, the one you're still living out. You do not sleep well the first night in a new place. In a hotel, in a friend's spare room, on a plane, you lie there and something in you refuses to fully let go, even though you know the door is locked and the building is safe. Scientists have a name for this. They call it the first night effect. And when they studied sleeping brains in a lab, they found something remarkable. On the first night in an unfamiliar place, one half of the brain sleeps more lightly than the other. One hemisphere stays partly on watch, more reactive to sounds, ready to wake the whole system fast. This is the same trick some ocean animals and birds use to sleep with half the brain awake. In humans, it's faint, a leftover, but it's real, and it fires precisely when you are somewhere your ancient brain does not yet trust. Your deep-time self is standing the night watch it stood for 2 million years, scanning the edge of the firelight, listening for the sound in the grass, keeping one eye open beside the sleeping group. You booked a comfortable room. Your brainstem booked a century. And now go back to where we started. 2 in the morning, one small sound, the breath that catches, the heartbeat in your ears, the eyes that snap to the darkest corner on their own. You understand it now. That is not fear failing you. That is the smoke detector doing its job. That is the motion pathway firing before your thinking brain wakes. That is the agency detector guessing a mind in the dark. That is the night watch that outlived the fire and the predators and the grassland itself. The leopards are gone. The cave lions are extinct. The eagles that hunted us have shrunk to birds we photograph in parks. Every hunter that wrote this code is dead. And the code runs anyway, tonight, flawless and ancient, in the safest bedroom in human history. You are not broken when you scan the shadows. You are simply carrying, awake and undamaged, the survival brain that every ancestor of yours handed down, one terrified night at a time, so that you could be here to feel it. If watching your own reflexes light up like this changed how you'll see the next dark room, subscribe and stick around. There are a lot more of these ancient programs still running inside you, and once you start seeing them, you can't stop.